Alright guys, welcome back to the shop. This is another AG-68 video. This one will concentrate more on the door controller, the DS-3 attached to the AG-68. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the landing gear down. One of the things that I'm not going to go too much over the installation of the wiring and all that, but the first thing you got to do is get the landing gear down before you program the AG-68. It is best if you do it with the original controller if you can. If not, then you have to manually get the gear down. The easiest way for me to do that on mine when I need to get the gear down is basically I just made a female to female JST controller or cable extension, whatever you want to call it. And what I'm going to do is just basically connect it to a 2S battery, and then each gear independently I'm going to take it out and connect the power to it and bring the landing gear down. For example, this is the nose gear door. And it's hitting the door, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the door open and get the rest of the gear down. There, nose gear fully extended. I'm going to put it back on the controller. The controller right now has no power, so I'm just, like I said, getting the landing gear down first. As I mentioned before, it is important for you to have and know which is your left brake and which one is your right brake. The landing gear doors, or the landing gear doors, yes. The landing gear itself, the retracts. If you don't know which one is left and which one is right, that's fine. I'm not gonna dwell too much on that. But for the brakes, it is very important that you know which one is the left side and which one is the right side, because you want to make sure that when it's skidding down the runway, it applies brakes to the correct side, and you go from there. So again, right now I'm just bringing all the landing gear down. All three are down and extended. This is a new controller. I have not programmed this, so that's why I get the landing gear down before I start. Now everything is already connected to the landing gear itself. If I remember from the last video, I mentioned that I never use a Y cable for the rudder. I set a separate channel called steering, or you can call it a second rudder channel if you want. And I connect that to the steering itself, or the rudder in on the controller. I don't connect it to the rudder, via Y cable, in case I want to add a gyro or anything else. If I wanted to adjust anything on the steering, I'm not going to change the rudder itself. I don't have to go mess with the ball link and readjust it manually. So right now, what you see in here, this is the door controller, and you do see a Y cable, because from the gear channel, you have to put a Y cable between the controller and the receiver for the actual DS-3 controller. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit, but for now it's basically the gear channel from the receiver to the AG-68, a Y cable to the door controller, and then this goes directly to my receiver. There is no cables connected yet to the DS-3 controller, because I'm gonna show you how this works. The first thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the landing gear. Like I said, this is a new controller. It hasn't been programmed or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the calibration, as they call it, on the actual retracts. I'm gonna set the retracts so the controller knows which way is down and which way is up on the retracts, and it tells you right there in the instructions. You want to start with the landing gear down, and you start with the landing gear down and your retract switch on with the landing gear in the down position where you want it, and then you go ahead and do the landing gear retract switch up and down. It says five cycles, 5 up and down each way, so about 10 switch movements, and you'll see the landing gear lights go back and forth, alternate when it does get programmed. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my receiver real quick. Hopefully the AG-68 is in a place where it's not gonna be moving too much and causing havoc on my nose gear. So right now I'm just gonna apply power to my receiver. and the actual AG-68 gets the power from the rudder channel of the receiver. So now the actual AG-68 does have power. I'm going to connect the 2S battery on here, and then I'm going to do the nose or the landing gear calibration or adaptation, however they call it on the actual manual. So now my AG-68 has power, and they say within a minute after you apply power to the receiver to go ahead and do the landing gear adaptation or calibration, however you want to call it. So I'm going to go ahead and just move my retract switch up and down until I see the lights alternate, meaning that they've been programmed. So as you see, the calibration is complete, or adaptation. The retracts go up when I flip the switch. It is backwards for me right now than what I normally want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse my actual switch, but all three of them are working in conjunction. So my actual retract channel, I'm just going to do a reverse. And now the switch will be in the position that I want it, where towards the camera is my landing gear up, towards me is the landing gear down. So the steering is actually backwards right now from what it's supposed to be. If I hold the left rudder, the wheel is turning right, and that comes with the brake adaptation, brake calibration, however you want to call it. I'm going to go ahead and do that just so you guys see again how that's done. And what I'm going to do is I have to power off the receiver, and I'm going to go ahead and power off the AG-68, because you have to do those programming within 60 seconds of when you apply power. So right now, receiver has no power, and the AG-68 has no power. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug in the AG-68 first, then the receiver, and I want the AG-68 more or less as straight as possible as where it's going to be later on. So there it is, more or less where it's going to be, and it's still going the wrong way. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold left rudder. And again, just like the retract, you're going to move the brakes up and down until you get the calibration lights. And if it doesn't do it the first time, you do it again. So left rudder, and then brakes on, off. And you do that a total of 5 times. Or when you see the lights flash, oh, there it is, there's the lights flashing. I don't know if you can see them there in the camera. But now the brakes are calibrated. So then now my steering should be correct. It is not. I'll go ahead and reverse that, but I'm going to try the actual pulling of the airplane. If I pull it towards me, the nose gear should go that way. Nope, it moved very slightly. I'm going to go ahead and check it, but I am going to reverse my my actual steering channel real quick. I should have done that before calibration, actually, since it was going the wrong way. So, steering, reverse, the rudders are going the right way, the steering is going the right way. Now let me see if it's calibrated or not. If not, I'll do the brakes again. If I pull it towards me, the airplane towards me, the nose wheel should turn towards the camera. Nope, it did not. So I'll just do the calibration again by powering everything off. And we'll go ahead and power it back up. And I will go ahead and do the calibration again by holding the left rudder, and then brakes on and off 5 or more times until you see the lights flashing right here. And left rudder, on, off. There you go, the lights went off. Both of the lights are flashing and it stopped applying the brakes. So now I'm going to check the rudder and the steering. And they are both going the right way. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull it towards me, and the steering should turn towards the camera if it's adjusted properly. And yes, it is. Now if I push it towards the camera, the wheel turns towards me. If I pull it towards me, if I slide the uplink towards me, the nose wheel turns towards the camera. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so I can show you the landing gear door controller, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, welcome back. You won't see much of me, but you get to see the actual controller. And this is the basic controller right here, the basic retract controller, door controller. And I'm going to show you some of the key components of it before I go ahead and plug in the landing gear doors. So first at the top, you have two POTS switches. One says reverse and normal. Every single every single door has the action. Whether if the door is opening when it should be closing, you flip the switch right here, and then it'll adjust it. Basically, 1, 2, 3. So then it's 1, 2, 3 for the little dip switches. That's the reverse function. The one in the center says delay. It comes with a little screwdriver, and then, for example, if your doors are closing before the landing gear go up, what you do is you adjust the delay so the doors take longer to close until your doors close. Your landing gear goes up and your doors close. The second one, it says twice and once on the little dip switches here. What it means is, do your retract doors have two functions or just one? Meaning, or two cycles or just one? Meaning, does the door come up, door open, the landing gear go down, and then the door stay open? That's one cycle. Twice on the top is if the door is supposed to drop, the landing gear come down, and then the doors close again. This is an F86, so all three doors are gonna do 2 cycles. So I need to make sure all 3 of the dip switches are in the up position. But you can adjust, again, it's landing gear door 1, 2, and 3. You can adjust each one independently. And then the other ones right here, the other little dials or whatever you want to call them, that you can adjust with the screwdriver, is the door limit. Basically, if the door open only 45 degrees, there's a open limit and there's a close limit for each door. Door 1, 2, 3 again, and basically you adjust the throw until the doors are open properly and the doors are closed properly. So I already have all my doors labeled. I'm gonna go ahead and find for example, this is my nose gear door cable. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to door number 1, and then left wing is gonna be door number 2, and right wing is gonna be door number 3. You can connect them however you want. So let me get those cables connected, and then I'll be right back. Welcome back again. Now we have everything connected. The 3 landing gear doors, which are basically servos attached to the front and the 2 sides right here, the 2 main doors under the fuselage. I can either show you up close what I'm doing in the controller, or I can show you the doors. But basically, if you noticed, if you look in here, all my 3 dip switches are now for the twice, up in the twice. So basically 2 cycles, meaning the landing gear doors will open, my landing gear will drop or come out, and then the doors will close. I'm gonna test it right now and see if it's timed correctly, or if I need to adjust the timing or the delay. And then I'm also gonna look at and see if they're open all the way or not, if I need to adjust the travel. So first test right here. I need to adjust the nose gear door first. The down travel is not enough. It did go ahead and close. So I'm going to adjust the down travel itself. So the open limit is what I need to change. And I'm going to change it and see. So my delay is good enough. I don't need to modify the delay. I do have to modify 2 doors. So let me look at it real quick. Okay, so door on the left hand side is door number 2. That one's actually going backwards than what I need it to be. It's actually on the closed position when it should be open. So then again, you know, that's why I told you guys, or I explained 1, 2, 3, or which one I was going to do. So now right here in the little dip switches, number 2 has to go to the top and the other one stay in the bottom. So number 2 is going to get reversed. So now the door is closed, and I'm going to adjust the close position because it still is not closed all the way on number 2. So let me move it a little bit. Wrong way. It's closed now. I'm going to go ahead and try it and see if everything's working the way I need it to be. So both of my main gear doors need a little bit of adjustment, not too much. They're all working properly. They need a little bit of adjustment as to where the open position is. Now that you see what I'm doing, before I adjust it, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera so you get to see the landing gear doors or the landing gear. Alright guys, welcome back again. I got you a better angle looking at my actual retracts and landing gear doors. Basically, you're looking at the bottom of the landing gear door, and if you notice, my number 3 door, this one on the right hand side, is not flush compared to the other one. So while you can't see me changing the dial, I showed you how to change it. I'm going to go ahead and change it while I try to look at the door and make sure that it is closing properly in the close position. So I'm going to adjust the close limit, and you should see the landing gear door move. That's the wrong way. Should be closed now. Feels perfect to me. I might have to back up a little bit more, but basically they're all adjusted now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the gear down. You'll see the door opens, and all of them come down. Now, my main gear doors are open, but they're not hanging like a whole 90 degrees. They are a little bit, they just need to open a little bit more basically. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the retract switch and bring the gear down. When the door is open, I'm going to adjust the open limit and try to get them both in the correct position. So here we go. So I adjusted door number 2, which is the left main, and let's see what it looks like now. So the left main is now perfect to me anyway. It opens up to the limit. The one on the right hand side I still need to adjust. Even though the door is not hitting the retract, it is very close. Any strong wind or anything like that might push the door a little bit and get in the way. So I want it to be open all the way, or a little bit more, just so that I don't have to worry about the landing getting stuck in there. So there you go. All my landing gear doors are set up the way I like them, and the retracts the way I like them. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, or better yet, I hope it got you the information you needed as to how to set up the door controller with the AG-68. I did go over some of the basics of the AG-68. If you want to watch the whole how to wire the AG-68, go ahead and watch the other video first and then this one. There was questions from people about how to adjust the doors and the delay, and this is a perfect timing. This airplane, once I get the wiring, I'm going to mount the AG-68 on the tray below in the door controller and tidy up the gear. But this will basically be ready to go, ready to fly in the morning. I hope you found this video informational. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.